The stock app just reported massive earnings, and the stock jumped 35% last week from $375 all the way up to $525.
Fucking shit.
Now, is it too late to buy in, or is this headed to $600? Let's check it out. Now, taking a look at the stock, you can see here that last Wednesday after hours, the stock was at $375, jumping all the way up in after hours to $500 and then running to $525 the next morning. Now, taking a look at some of the earnings, you can see here net income last quarter expanded 248% to $599 million from $172 million at the same period a year ago. Now, revenue also grew 44% to $1.3 billion from $950 million 1 year ago. Full year 2024 net income soared 343% to $1.58 billion, which was $356 million 1 year ago. Are you starting to see a trend here? And continuing the great news, they expect that the first quarter of the year to remain within that $1 billion level and settle anywhere between $1.3 to $1.38 billion. And on top of all this, price targets have been increased by many different analysts across the board, pushing this stock even higher. Taking a look at just a couple of them, UBS price target raised from $440 to $630. Oppenheimer $480 to $560. BofA $375 to $580. Wedbush $545 to $620, and JP Morgan raising it to $475. A lot of big price target upgrades from big tech names out there. So we gotta be on the watch for this stock heading into this week. Now, taking a look at the setup here, I really like this. You can see that we have a high price point here at $525, which is our resistance. It's our all-time highs from the past week, and we gotta watch that area. We're taking this low point here, which is going to be our support around 449, 450, we'll call it. And then we have this midsection here where we're kind of trading, using as resistance and support a couple different times. And you can see it here where we had some bounces once, twice, 3 times here, fell through and then got rejected as resistance, fell back down off of resistance, and then pumped through resistance here, turned to support here and bounced off. So that's a strong area of resistance and support. We're going to call that around 483. Okay, so we have these 3 areas, and now we got to make sure that this stock can hold at least in this top band. And if this stock does, it's going to push higher above 525 and push to the upside. And taking a wider angle look at this, you can see this has just been an insane run up from the stock. The stock, I mean, from a year ago was $54, and just from a few months ago at our last earnings report back in November was at $165 before starting this massive rally from 165 up to almost 300, and then continuing to move higher until we saw this next rally off of this earnings, which pushed it from 375 to 525. So both earnings, actually even the past 3 earnings, have been very strong, pushing the stock higher to the upside. But can it hold? We are trading in no man's land right now. This stock, last time it pushed higher and continued higher. And we saw this yet again with the previous quarter back in August. Pushed higher, rallied higher. Now, are we going to see that yet again? And to be completely honest, there's a really strong chance of that happening. And the only way that I can see that happening, though, is if we take a look back at this chart here and we say to ourselves, if this stock can break back above 525 and continue moving higher, break above that 525 resistance and move higher, then it's going to move to the upside even higher. But the other downside to it is if it can't hold this $450 level, we're going to fall to the downside quite heavily, all the way down to potentially 410 or lower to this SMA line here. So it's really got to hold between these channels here for it to stay above $500, and on top of that, $525 to move higher to the upside. So in the short term, we're going to be trading this thing off of these 3 levels here. More specifically though, based on how much volume is getting pushed into the stock and whether it can hold this 480 area and then continue to move up higher towards this 525. If we see it approach 525, this thing's going to push higher above 525. Could be $550, $600 by the end of this week or next week if we get that push. But on the flip side, for you short traders out there, if we fall below 450 or even this 470 area, you're going to see a massive flush to this 450, and then from 450, you're going all the way down to at least 415 to 420 or even close to this 410 area. So you got to be careful of that in the short term. Long term, be on the lookout. If you're trying to get in this lane legitimately for the long term, be careful. It's a little hot right now. We may have a pullback this week. But on the flip side, you don't want to miss out. So my suggestion, if you're going long term, you've done your due diligence and you truly believe this is a good stock, start buying at any type of little pullbacks and dollar cost average. Dollar cost average, if you get close to this 480 area, if it drops below 480, continue to dollar cost average down, enter into some shares, because if you believe it's going to go higher, and it potentially does, it could rally back up to the upside, and then it breaks through 525. Next thing you know, you have a nice average price of 10, 15, 20 shares, whatever you want to go for, at this 480, 500 level, and the stock, next thing you know, is 600, 620, 650 bucks per share. So with that being said, we're going to be watching App this week because this is a top stock to be watching all across the board. Massive move to the upside last week off of earnings. So let me know down in the comments below what you think about the stock App, whether you guys are going to be trading this one or going for a long-term investment on it. And if you guys have any other stocks, drop it down below as well. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, and I'll see you guys next time.